Welcome in. Instant reactions. Ben Vallis here, along with Wayne Spooney. Couple of sad boys. Wayne Spooney after what almost looked like we almost got a sequence of miracles there with the X rebound and the Pritchard made three, and then the two potential game-winning looks there, both by Peyton Pritchard. Kind of surprised we didn't find Jaylen Brown towards the end there, but Spooney, a bit of pain to begin the season here for Celtics fans.
I went into this season thinking I was in a post-pain Celtics watching experience where it's like this year is essentially meaningless. We just get to develop some guys, maybe kind of get a decent draft pick. It's not going to hurt when we lose. It has taken one game for that to be flipped on his head. That one hurt, dude. We were up 9 deep. I mean, with like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, looked to be in control of the game. And it just kind of flipped on its head. Like, we just couldn't make shots. Like, tell me if you've heard this before. Shooting variance did not go our way. I mean, 40% from three to 25.6% from three for the Celtics. So that was tough. But some positives and definitely some negatives for sure.
Yeah, we'll always have that connection to the 2024 team and the 2025 team. The shooting variance concerns do not go away. Shout out to RJ in the chat. Thank you for the super chat. RJ says, a good game, poor result. Neemi showed he stepped up. Simons tried. Yeah, and shooting variance cooked them. So there's lots of good stuff to get to. But I guess just hanging on those final couple of possessions, Spoonie, are you surprised we went to Pritchard? Was that just did we go to Pritchard in the flow of the game? Inbounding the ball seems to have been a troublesome aspect of the game for the Celtics since the beginning of the preseason. And it felt like just the Pritchard being one of the only options or the only option on those final two inbounds was kind of why we ended up going to him in those final two looks. But would you have preferred to find someone else in that situation?
Yeah, so Jaylen, especially on what was the second to last shot, so the one that got blocked for Pritchard, Jaylen was definitely the primary on that play because we had those guys lined up like in the backfield, almost like it was the football play. And then Jaylen was like off by himself, and he kind of like diagonal cut to try and I think get like an empty side post up. And Oubre played it pretty well, and I think Jaylen was being really physical with him, and I think at some point realized, like, I can't foul right now, and had to kind of cool off a little bit, which resulted in, like, a series of, I guess, picks and cuts, and then Pritchard's on the ball, and I trust Pritchard to make a move. I can't remember who was on him. Might have been Quentin Grimes, but a guy he can beat off the dribble. And he did beat him off the dribble. He got all the way to the rim, which is what you want in a 1-point game. And I think it was Barlow just came over, made a pretty decent defensive play. And, we had one more chance. And to me, I think Derek was the primary on that second play, and it just didn't come off. So we were sort of scrambling, and you just got to get the ball into somebody. And Pritchard's really good at cutting, using his body, making himself available. So it found him. I'm okay with it. Obviously, you probably want Jaylen in the post if you can, but I don't know. What about you, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he's so good at making himself available. He's the ball's going to find him in those baseline out of bounds situations or sideline out of bounds situations. So yeah, I'm not mad that the ball found him in that situation. He earned those attempts, but he got downhill, got close to the basket on that first game winning attempt, and just hit the bottom of the rim there or something. Something went wrong. He might have got blocked, but that was unfortunate. Looking at why we lost this game, so I'm just cruising the margins in the box score here. We didn't get massively out rebounded. We kept our turnovers down. They shot 40% from three while we shot 25% from three on relatively high volume. And then on that 3-point efficiency from the Sixers perspective, Maxey 19 points in the second quarter. And then in the fourth went on that run of just getting a high pick, getting immediately open off of that pick. And just what did he hit? 2 or 3 threes in a row to cut what was a 10-point lead down to one, unfortunately. And we were never really able to recover from that moment in the fourth quarter, despite Maxey being on 5 fouls the entire time. Kind of glad that we didn't relentlessly hunt that 6th foul, because we've seen that playing the Warriors in the past, hunting Curry's 6th foul. It kind of takes us out of our flow a little bit. Now that's all said and done, Spoonie, kind of wish we did, because it might have put us in a better, a more advantageous position to win this one.
Yeah, I say like you don't want to just hunt it to the point where you like undermine your offensive scheme, but I do think we could have done a better job like getting him in the primary action. There was multiple times when we were on the playback, I was like, you got to go at Maxi, like you got to get something directed at Maxi, and we just didn't. So that's disappointing, but I mean, you're right. It's a really delicate dance, and I don't really have any issues with the shots we got. I mean, we just missed a lot of open threes, which and it's especially considering who missed the open threes. Like that was the disappointing part. Like Derek had a wide open corner three that I thought would have bet my life was going in when it was like I think it would have been to extend the lead with 2 or 3 minutes left that just didn't go down. And like throughout the game, Hauser had a couple open ones he missed. And Pritchard 1 of 7 from three. Like that's not going to happen very often. He did hit the big one though. He hit the monster one at the end of the game. So like the offense is going to be good, and they generated a lot of really good looks tonight that just didn't always go down. It just feels like we're probably going to have trouble stopping teams this year. Like I think teams are probably going to shoot very well from three against us because when you play defense the way we're playing defense, where we're going for steals, it's going to leave dudes open for three. It just is. You only have three guys behind the ball when you're going for steals.
The gambling in transition as well. We tidied this up in the second half, and that was partially why we had such a good third quarter, was because we stopped gambling so much in transition. We actually started making a few more shots as well, which helped limit the amount of transition opportunities that the Sixers had. But in the first half, like the Sixers were absolutely killing us in transition, and there were so many situations where like the camera would pan down to their scoring basket, and there'd be like either one defender or no defenders down there to meet the Sixers with any resistance. So that was kind of glaring, but I was glad to see that they kind of tidied that up as the game went on. So definitely some areas for improvement. I think it's very safe to say from the Celtics perspective. It's a newish squad. It's game one. And while it's equally disappointing to lose in this fashion, equally disappointing as it would have been in the years prior, it shouldn't be as maddening, I think, because like the very simple reasoning is like we are a much worse team and therefore will lose games. And this is a very obvious example of that. So very disappointing, especially the situation that we had at the end of the game where we had, an opportunity to win the game. No less devastating that it didn't go down for us in the end there. Do we want to get to some good stuff? Because before it kind of all fell to shit, there was some really good aspects of this game. What stood out to you there?
I think for me, it's Queta. I mean, he's not a starting center in the NBA. He's not a good starting center in the NBA. And before people jump down my throat, is he one of the 15 best centers in the NBA? Obviously not. That's what it takes to be a good starting center in the NBA. But he certainly looked like a viable starter for where the team's at this year. 17-8. I thought he had some wonderful defensive possessions, had some defensive possessions where, Maxey just turned the corner on him because maybe he didn't drop deep enough. But that's the problem with Maxey. If you drop too deep, he just pulls up in your face and he's going to hit the shot. So it's tough. Like we're just going to have problems defending these small guards like all season. They're going to kill us. But otherwise, like he was really, really good, man. Like I thought offensively, he was so active. His screens were awesome. We were calling him out in the playback multiple times where it's like got into the body, created a bunch of space, and lots of times got himself open after he rolled because he set such a good screen. He missed one shot, 3 of 4 from the line, which is super important. And like for the most part, Maxey, VJ, hit a bunch of shots, but like a solid defensive performance from Queta, I thought, and like did a pretty damn good job on the glass. He's had defensive rebounding issues at times, and he, that showed up a few times tonight, but for the most part, totally solid on the glass.
Yeah, and his sixth foul, like I don't want to say it's the reason why it all fell to shit at the end there, but it was certainly part of the unraveling process. Like it was all going to shit, and as a part of that, Queta picked up his sixth foul and had to sit for the rest of the game. But great like debut as the CEO of the centers for the Boston Celtics. I think Eric Weiss called it out in the playback as the Boston Celtics starting center. That was great to see, but just not enough restraint there with the hands, I guess, and fouled out in this one, even though he didn't really have to spend that much time defending Joel Embiid, who was on a minute's restriction and really had I would say 0 to negative impact on the game. I was really looking forward to talking more shit about Embiid, but obviously having to take the L in this one, we'll have to pass that up till next time. Anthony Simons was, I thought, a surprising standout to me in this one. The offense, we know that part about his game, and he wasn't like overly efficient, 2 of 6 from 3 in this one, but defensively, yes, he had his moments, but he wasn't like he was Reed Shepherd yesterday. You know, like I thought for the most part, he did a pretty good job of staying engaged, staying in front of his defender. He had a strip under the basket in transition off Maxi, which was a really nice sort of recovery hustle play as well. But like those are nice highlight plays, but I think more importantly and more in terms of the defense's sustainability, I thought that Simons did a pretty good job for the most part, staying in front of his guy, you know, not getting caught off guard, at least relative to expectations, I think is fair to say.
Yeah, I think he was like totally fine defensively, and that's a massive win for like what you expect from Anthony Simons, who kind of graded out as one of the worst defenders in the NBA the last couple of years. So, and like had some like legitimately good defensive possessions too. And when you're going against VJ and Maxi, like that's important. And I think, you know, he ended up -5. Like I don't really think that's totally representative of how he played. I thought he played like quite well, pretty good debut. I think the one issue I kind of have with Simons is like, I don't know if the playmaking's truly there. Like he's gonna get assists because he gets a lot of defensive attention because he's a bucket getter, and you know, he's gonna make passes when he draws to, but like, you know, I was kind of hoping maybe he could really be like a primary ball handler when Jaylen and Derek are not on the court. I don't know if I totally see that, but he had, you know, several kind of highlight plays. He had that one dunk where he just kind of like exploded to the rim after that crossover and semi transition. So very good. A 13 and 4, like with an assist, a steal, and a block. Totally like solid debut from Simons. So I think pretty encouraging, especially on the defensive end. I do want to watch back some of his possessions because, you know, I'm just curious. It's hard to like really judge defense in the flow of a game, especially when we're doing playback and going crazy. But yeah, I left that game thinking like, not bad.
Yeah, on the offensive side, you touched on it, but there were several occasions where you could see, maybe it's just because of our aerial view watching the game, but you could see like the obvious next pass for him. And like sometimes he did eventually make the pass, but the delivery was just too slow and the opportunity for the receiver, a couple of times where Hauser or Jaylen had like good wide open opportunities and Simons just hit them like way too late in the flow of the offense. So
Yeah.
you know, you can watch film and you can address that. But that was a little glaring. But overall, and particularly defensively, I think above expectations from Anthony Simons' perspective, which is great. Let's get to the guards very quickly. Peyton Pritchard, Derek White. I know we talked about Pritchard's game-winning attempts, but look, if we just get average shooting from these guys from beyond the arc, and Derek missed a couple of bunnies down low as well, they're like, this is potentially a completely different game. This is a pretty bad starting game for both of these guys. They both had moments. Derek had some great moments late in the game with the saving it off a Sixers player's feet while falling out of bounds. He had a pretty clutch pull-up 3 as well, which is exciting. And I think the next play, a great assist to Nemi. But like throughout the course of the game, some tough shooting there, which you're just not going to win NBA games shooting like that.
Yeah, for sure. And like Pritchard, I think like really up and down game for him. I thought he had some stretches where he looked like the best player on the court, and then some stretches where he's gambling a shitload defensively, which I'm not a big fan of. I think that's scheme. I think that's what we want him to do. But there was one possession late where I think it ended up in like a Barlow like layup at the rim, like really late in the game, where Pritchard's like in the backcourt essentially, and trying to gamble and get a steal, and it just leads to like a wide open layup. And to me, it's like, why? Like Pritchard can stay in front of guys, like, but he's not like an impactful help defender, right? He's not long. He doesn't like block shots. You know, he'll get his steals here and there. He had 2 tonight, but he's not like Dyson Daniels where it's like, oh shit, this guy's near me. Uh-oh, this is bad, right? So I just don't really see the upside with having him, like, especially late in the game in the backcourt gambling. So he had some confusing defensive possessions. And yeah, I think a lot of it just kind of boils down to like the shot didn't go for him tonight. And that's a big part of his game. And I'm really interested to see what Derek looks like this year because he's the second option. He took 20 shots tonight, and he's going to have a lot of games where he takes 20 shots. And he has been hyper efficient basically the second he was a Celtic. And I really am interested to see if he can keep that up. I suspect he can. And again, like he makes one more three, all of a sudden, like that line starts to look really good, and he's at 28 points on pretty solid efficiency. So I'm not really worried about those guards. And like especially Derek, but it's just unfortunate that it's Philly and we couldn't get a shot to go.
Yeah, man, I know. Yeah, the usage rate kind of graded out to be near identical between Jaylen and Derek in the end. I know we were talking about in the playback that for the longest time, like Derek White just had so many more shots on goal, and that's just kind of like how the offense looks with like Derek bringing the ball up and getting that high pick and like shooting if there's any space ever, which there often is. But we went to Jaylen down the stretch a bit more. I quite like this game from Jaylen. It's disappointing that he wasn't able to take that opportunity, like we said, to win the game in the end. But 50% from the floor, 50% from three, got to the line a bunch of times. Well, 3 trips to the line, I should say. 25 points. Just the 2 turnovers, which with the, no Tatum of it all, the slightly dialed up usage, and it's certainly the higher attention on Jaylen Brown in terms of Philly's defense, limiting himself to 2 turnovers. I didn't think there were that many opportunities where like it looked like his handle was loose as well. And the playmaking, 4 assists, they all came like quite early in this game as well. Yeah. But like quite early on, he was diming guys up and he just looked fucking mature out there. Not that he hasn't in the past, but I really like this Jaylen Brown. I don't think he over-asserted himself at any point in this game as well. So that was a positive takeaway.
Yeah. Okay. So like this is a quick soccer analogy, right? Like there's often like a guy on the team, like Bruno Fernandes for Manchester United, where like his fingerprints are just on every possession. Every time they have the ball, it gets to him. He gives it up. He gets it back. He's making plays. He's hitting through balls. He's, taking every set piece. He's scoring goals. Like to me, that was this Jaylen game. It just felt like his fingerprints were all over this game. Every time he touched it, it felt like something good happened. And that's not always been the case with Jaylen Brown. Like he's kind of a high variance player a lot of time. And it didn't feel like that to me tonight. I felt like he really let the game come to him. In a lot of ways. He took one very bad shot, I think, late in the fourth quarter, where it was like this weird mid-range jumper that just wasn't there. But he's the star. He's the guy on this team. He's okay to take that shot, and he's great from mid-range, so it's all right. But I really liked his game. But obviously at times maybe could have used him forcing it a little more, and by that I mean getting downhill, not shooting, but like give me the ball, I'm going to get downhill. I've got Kelly Oubre on me, or I've got Dominic Barlow on me. Give me some space and let me make a decision. But I thought his decision making was really, really good and really encouraging going forward with him being the number 1 option.
Yeah, and I think fairly safe to say probably not 100% physically as well. Like we knew he came in with the questionable status with the hamstring. There were a couple of opportunities where like even a year, 2 years ago, Jaylen would have gone up and dunked that shit and he like didn't. So I think clearly not 100% there physically, but that's okay because like you said, the decision making was really on point. So that was good to see. Got a couple of missed points we can wrap up on. Obviously, we'll do like the longer pod once we're a few games into the season. But we've got a bunch of people here. While you're here, please subscribe. Hit that like button as well. It really helps us like put us in favor of the algorithm and recommend this show to more people. So we'd really appreciate it if you can like this stream, engage with the channel, subscribe, comment. We just put out an underrated plays video as well, sort of rehashing some of the best, like sneaky, surprisingly good plays from the Celtics preseason as well. So make sure you check that out. Some missed points from this one, and I'm just going to be all over the place here, Spoonie, and feel free to jump in with your own missed points as well. Hugo Gonzalez came to the scorer's table at some point in the third quarter, stood there for a very sexy 1 minute, and then immediately went back to the bench, and we never saw him again. So at some point, he was about to check into the game. Might have been close to the end of the second half. I can't remember. And then obviously we reached another like scenario where like Joe was like, okay, Hugo, like you're not fit for this particular on-court moment. Back you go. But looked like he was going to check in. Never happened.
Yeah, that's disappointing. Again, this is ultimately a transition season where you're trying to see what you have with guys. Give me Ugo. I want Ugo. I want to see what he looks like on an NBA court when the games matter. And I know it's a long season. We got 81 left, but I'm impatient and I want to see what it looks like now. So I thought Minot's first stint was pretty good. The second one was a disaster for the most part. So those minutes are very much up for grab, and I suspect we will get some Ugo or at least Jordan Walsh very, very soon. So I know it was tantalizing, so tempting.
Any other minor takeaways before we wrap this one up?
I think Tillman might be healthy. He was grabbing his knee at the end of the game, which was terrifying. But for the most part, I thought Tillman was very solid tonight, and that's a huge development for this team. He's still only 25, he might be 26 now. Like, he could be a long-term bench piece for this team. There's no reason. So if he's healthy and feeling better, it makes me feel a lot better about the center rotation going forward.
Yeah, he definitely looked good. He had that strip on Embiid earlier in the game as well, which was kind of cool to see. Like his ability to switch, in contrast to what we get out of Neemias out there, is like a really powerful tandem at a very low price point, which is obviously what we're looking for this year. So that was kind of good to see. I think the only other takeaway I was talking about it on the playback, Jason Tatum's lemon suit is I think it's an all-time suit, at least in terms of Celtics bench swag. I from what I can recall, he was looking fly as hell. But unless you've got anything else, I don't think I've got anything else. I think I just want to go take a walk, touch grass, and forget this ever.
I know, yeah. I need to somehow go to sleep after that frustration episode. But yeah, hey, we're back. That's what matters. Basketball rules, and it's finally back. So let's go beat the Knicks.
Absolutely. Yeah. 1-on-1 just around the corner. Thank you so much for joining us, Wayne, Spoonie. Love your work, man. And we'll catch you on the next one.